This is my video post for Bacchae. I think the most powerful part for the play for me was when the mom, Agai, kills her son. It was kind of really unexpected. Um, Definitely, like throughout the whole play, that was one part that really stuck with me. Um, so I really thought that was really um, startling, kind of unexpected. So definitely, that's probably what I would say is probably the most meaningful part, and kind of crazy. I think there's lots of different themes that kind of happened in the play, um, but I think a couple of the ones that I like kind of stood out to me was one kind of um, you know women and kind of like femininity, because obviously there's at this time, like women were supposed to be a bit more subservient, and I think it was interesting how in the play, like there's a group of women kind of rebelling and kind of exploring that dynamic. I think another one is kind of the balance between, the control. I think there's a lot of the control versus kind of like the freedom. So, in throughout the whole play, I think you can kind of see that like throughout all the characters when they're talking and going about there is kind of like between all these set structure versus kind of like that real freedom to sort of do whatever it is. And I think also violence, because like I said, one of the most meaningful parts for me was when Aga killed her son. So I think kind of that violent aspect of it and kind of where that fits in and how that makes the play more like stronger, or like really drives home the point. I think that's a major theme that I noticed throughout the whole thing. The main is throughout the play they were kind of depicted kind of just like wild creatures, wild animals, almost, which I thought was kind of interesting, and especially with the question that says um, how this tells us about the role and status from the women in Greek society. Like in the book, in the play, they talk about how like they eat, tear things apart, and etc. Um, and I think kind of throwing this back to kind of how women were portrayed in this play, as kind of if they're not told what to do or not controlled, like they're gonna go out and do these crazy things and go out and I don't know, like be a wild creature as opposed to someone that's like tamed. And I think that's kind of one of the looking at the time that this play was made, so that kind of makes sense in the sense of how why they would say these things, just because that's kind of like the mindset people had back then. Um, in terms of the cover, I think a big part of this play was like the provocativeness of it and sort of all of that. And I think Elvis is probably on the cover because of his time he was provocative and he was kind of very, he caused people to kind of go crazy over him and all that, which is kind of stuff that happened in this play. Obviously, just not with Elvis. So I think that's probably why they chose him for the cover of this play, because I think he kind of some of the themes kind of resonate with him. Questions from me on my end. I guess one would kind of be to hear what y'all thought of the different themes were in the play as that different from mine, and also kind of what you guys thought about. Did you guys see any like symbols of like Greek um, plays and stuff within this own play? 'Cause I know like traditional plays they're really big on their symbols and stuff, so I'd be interested to see what you guys thought about that.